Hey, everybody, we back. Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. Y'all just heard a very touching story. With that touching story, we just want you to know it's a lot of other touching stories that need to be heard. Best way for them to be heard is for them to get out of prison. And when they get out of prison, we'll hear them saying how thankful they are about the system and the people who stuck beside them. And that's why we're doing the show today, everybody. We're trying to rally for the wrongfully convicted. And, you know, just to hear his mom say, you know, God came through, God made a way. But it goes back to what I was saying. A lot of people who are wrongly convicted, their parents are up in age. Some of them didn't even get to see their child get out. And some of them still ain't seen their child get out. You know what I'm saying? And they done passed away. So when this situation happens, a lot of life is being taken away. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to Jay right now, my producer, and she's definitely going to run down, you know, Ron's situation. And we're going to bring him in, and we definitely going to talk to him.
Our next guest, Ron Keine. Ron Keine is an assistant director of membership and training for Witness to Innocence. Ron was one of 4 men convicted of the murder, kidnapping, sodomy, and rape of a University of New Mexico student in 1974. He and his co-defendants were sentenced to death before an investigation by the Detroit News uncovered a bizarre campaign by prosecutors to coerce testimony from a motel maid named Judy Wire, whom they wanted to be their star witness. After prosecutors reneged on all their promises to Wire, she fully retracted her story in a set of taped newspaper interviews. The story broke in January 1975, and a hearing for a new trial was held. Unbelievably, the judge refused to grant a new trial, and then the taped interviews with Judy Wire mysteriously disappeared. Ron and his co-defendants remained on death row. Ron was finally released in 1976 after the murder weapon was traced to a law enforcement officer who admitted to the killing. Because of the corruption surrounding Ron's case, the assistant prosecutor was disbarred and 3 sheriff detectives were fired because of their actions in the case. After his release, Ron returned to Michigan, where he now resides. A lifelong Republican, Ron says he used to have faith in the American justice system, but now I know it is corrupt and broken. I don't believe the government should kill people, he said. Utilizing a powerful mix of humor and pathos, Ron speaks to groups all over the country about the death penalty and has given numerous interviews to national and local media, including Larry King Live and here on Conversations with Cogee. We want to welcome Ron Keine.
Well, thank you. This is Ron. How are you doing today?
Ron, how you doing today, Ron?
I'm doing just fine. How are you? How's the weather there?
Oh, man, you know what? It's really beautiful. I can say that. I can't say it's burning up hot. It's like right in the middle. Cool little breeze, man. Sun out. It feels great.
Oh, here, too. It's about 70. It's gorgeous out. I've been working out in the yard.
Oh, okay. I hear you getting you some cardio on, as you work.
Well, I grow all my own organic herbs and vegetables and stuff, and this is the end of the season now. I'm getting the rest of them in and getting ready to plow them all under and, you know, wait till next year.
Oh, okay. Well, Miss Peaches want to talk to you about that. What you think, Miss Peaches?
Oh, man, I'm getting hungry just thinking about it. I need some Vegas tips, though. It's hot and dry here. It's not so easy to grow what you want to grow out here.
Oh, we have plenty of water.
Yeah, most definitely.
Lake out there, but Lake Mead, but we're doing okay. We got lots of
it.
You know that's right, definitely. So, Ron, I want to say I have on the phone Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic. Jeffrey, it's Ron.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing, Ron?
Hey, buddy.
Good.
How you doing?
I'm good. We were just talking a couple weeks ago, so nice to encounter you again on the phone. This time to interview.
Yeah, good talking to you again.
Okay. V, you want to say hello to Ron?
Hi, Ron. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
I said I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing just peachy.
I hear you. Okay, so Ron, I want you to bring
Yes,
people.
sir.
I want you to bring people up to speed, and I just want you to tell them what don't they understand about what me, you, and Jeffrey are doing right now. When I do these shows and I bring all of us together, what don't they understand about the power of a movement that we not really getting with this show that we've been doing?
Well, interesting you brought that up. Well, people don't understand the strength of a movement. Now, just recently, now, within the last few weeks, we have all learned, we've all got an education that we can't count on our government to do anything.
That's right.
You know, they're going to sit back, get their fat cat paychecks and stuff like that, and they care very little about what we do here. But, you know, we Americans have a long history of making things happen. We have our own movement going on. We can end this death penalty. We can end some of these wrongful convictions. And we can hold people accountable who purposely put our people in jail, lock them up, or even kill them just to get a feather in their hat. Many times, knowing that that person is innocent. We can do this. We the people can.
That's right. And you know what? I was saying, you know, people say it's justice, but then I say it's just us. What you think about that, Ron? Is it just us?
Well, just us when it comes to legislatures.
Right.
I mean, legislators, if that's what you're talking about.
Right.
Even with any Obamacare, anything they do, at the end of every bill they put, that doesn't include us. You know, you pass a new law, you can't do this, doesn't include us.
Right. That's right. You're definitely right about that. You know what, Ron? I want to go to this real quick. I want you to help people understand about when you was in San Quentin. I want these different.
I wasn't San Quentin. I was in New Mexico. I was in the Santa Fe.
Oh, you was in the Santa Fe.
Row.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about that. I want these moms and these aunties and uncles, I want them to understand about their children and their nieces and nephews, and they don't understand what it means to be falsely accused and put in prison. Can you talk about the conditions in prison? Can you talk about the lack of respect in prison, the food in prison? Let them know, kind of let them know what they loved one is going to go through if we don't rally to stop a lot of the stuff that's going on with wrongful convictions.
We have constitutional rights. We have the 8th, the 14th. We have many amendments that say we're supposed to be treated like human beings. But the problem with a lot of these laws is there's no teeth in them. Mm-hmm. You get into a prison, and they don't care what the Constitution says, what your rights are. You have no rights anymore. You are under a totalitarian rule, and they will tell you when to wake up, when to eat, when to walk, when to do everything. And you got no say-so about it. This gets to the extent sometimes where it actually gets into corporal punishment and emotional punishment. For one thing, on death row, where I was at, we were not allowed showers or exercise for 2 years.
Wow.
Now, we didn't stink or anything. What you had to do, you plug up your sink, you start the faucets going, and you sit under it. You let it overflow on yourself to wash, and you soap down, and then you do that again to rinse. That's the only way we could get a shower down there. Exercise we just didn't get. You had to do push-ups in your cell or whatever, jump around, jumping jacks, whatever you had to do.
Right.
There was no medical treatment whatsoever. I got kidney stones in there one time. Now, I'm in my mid-20s. I don't know what a kidney stone is. And I'm laying on the floor 18 hours in pain, and a bunch of the inmates, the other guys on row, are screaming and screaming to get me some medical help, and they just won't do it. There is none for people on death row. Matter of fact, the other guys had me firmly convinced that the guards had poisoned me. Hell, I was handing over my coffee and cigarettes to them guys and everything. But I came out of it. I didn't know what it was till after I got out. Another time a guard hit me and he broke my tooth. Of course, there's no dental either. So I don't know on radio here if I want to get into the gory things, what I had to do to pull the rest of my broken tooth out of my jaw. But this is what you have to go through on death row. No law books were allowed. If you had law books, you could make trouble, so they were not allowed. The treatment there was solitary confinement all the way, and the guards would actually pride themselves in what they can do to an inmate. Wake a guy up by throwing hot coffee in his face when he's sleeping, go by his cell and call him names and just all kinds of things. I saw one sexual assault by 2 guards on an inmate. These are guards. These are people that go out in the street to get all the women they want, whatever, and here they are playing this role in prison. But this is what people go through in prison. It's not the golf courts and tennis courts and movie theaters and everything that people read about, or a lot of people say that we get in there. It's all a farce.
Right. Yeah, you're definitely right about that. And see, that's why I said, I wanted you just to let people know that, when their kids are in there, you know what I'm saying, that it's serious. When your mom or your dad's in there, and the children even know in reverse, if your mom or dad get caught up on something wrongfully convicted, you know what I'm saying, it's rough camping. Yep. It's serious.
And for people out there, the only hope that a man has on death row is them people outside. There ain't no court going to free him. There ain't no prosecutor going to say, oops, I made a mistake. If actually he finds he made a mistake, he's going to hide it anyway. Yeah. The people in there depend for moral support from people on the outside. When a lot of people, if they have nobody to write to or anything, there's a lot of suicides there. A lot of hope, despair, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder can happen when a traumatic event happens. But when you're on death penalty, especially when you didn't do it, when you're innocent, and you got a mark on your calendar knowing the day that you're going to die, my God, you re-traumatize yourself every single day that you wake up.
Right.
Now, every once in a while, I'd get a letter, okay? I didn't have anybody in that state. A lot of our people didn't have people in the state because we were just passing through there when they arrested us. But a letter is so important. When I get a letter, I would sit there. I wouldn't even open it. I'd make myself a cup of coffee. I'd sit down, get all ready. I'd look at the envelope. I'd smell it a little bit, look at the writing on it, and I would drag this letter out probably 2-3 hours because that's how much it meant to me just to get a letter from somebody. I don't care if it was a stranger,
right.
But it certainly was nice to know sometimes that there's somebody out there who believes in you, somebody that keeps your hope going. And as long as you got that hope, you can still fight. You can still keep fighting, not give up, and do whatever you can to prove your innocence. Whether, there's not a lot you can do. You can just try to help your lawyers, try to remember something, get into law if you can, whatever you can. But for people out there, write those letters. It is so important for those people to get those letters. Even if you don't know somebody in there, find a death row guy. Write him a letter. He'll love it. Be a pen pal.
I hear you. You're right about that. But I want to do this. I want to go to Jeffrey real quick, and then I'm going to come back to you, Ron. Jeffrey, was it any young guys in there that you mentored and you can see that they were kind of leaning towards suicide, or they just didn't care no more and they started just getting in trouble in jail, making their time hard instead of just, having easy time by just doing what they asked you to do and let the time roll on? Did you have to mentor anybody and did you see any suicides? Or what did you see, Jeffrey?
Yeah, I absolutely had to mentor and I had to mentor some of the younger guys. And, in a way, I felt like I was giving back even while in there, because when I initially entered the prison system, I was feeling suicidal. I didn't understand how to do time. And some of the old-timers pulled me to the side and took a care of me to, keep my morale going. Yes, I did see a number of suicides while I was in there. In hindsight, I realized that some of those guys that committed suicide, they had shown some of the telltale signs. Like one guy went to commissary and he purchased a full, he spent as money as he possibly could. And, when he came back to the cell guard, he was giving all of his stuff away. He was giving away items that didn't make any sense to me. He was giving away hot pots and clothing items. I'm thinking, well, why is he giving this stuff away? How was he going to do his time without it? And I guess, he already knew he didn't need it no more, because next morning they found him hanged, so he hung himself.
That's a shame.
I wish I would have knew what I was seeing, at the time, but I didn't, so I didn't say or do anything.
That's right.
It still haunts me to now, Cogee.
Wow. Man, that's really sad. Ron, so what did you go through? Did you have anybody that, you gave them the strength to hold on, as well as somebody giving you the strength?
Actually, I didn't really have anybody. I just, my mom was dying, and she had cancer, and she was so drugged up she really couldn't talk. My dad was basically not interested, so I really didn't have any family around there and stuff. And I did a thing. Sometimes I don't know if I did it right, if I should have or not. But I was going with the girl then. We were going together about 6 months. And I was thinking about squaring up, get a decent job, and we're going to get married and settle down and everything, when all of a sudden this happened. Well, they put us on death row before our trial. Now, that's another thing. People think, oh, you can't do that in the United States. Yes, they did. We went to arraignment, which is the first increment that you will reach in the justice system. You plead guilty or not guilty. We pled not guilty, and they took us directly to death row in the state prison. Now, that's ridiculous. They're not supposed to do that. You have to be convicted of a crime and get a death sentence in order to go to death row. But they don't care. They don't care what the laws are. So anyway, I was in there 2 months before the trial, and I'm hearing from the other guys where they're going on, and I resigned myself to the fact that I'm either going to be in here 10 years fighting this and hope that maybe some lawyer finds something or somebody finds out who really did this or lawyer finds some loophole or something to get me out, or I'm going to die here. Either way, I'm going to be here for at least 10 years. So I wrote my girlfriend a letter. I told her, look, I'm sorry, you're going to hate me for this probably, but you'll thank me someday. I got to cut you loose. I tell her I took her off my waiting list, my writing list, which means she can't write. I took her off my visiting list, which means she can't visit. I said, I will not accept any mail from you. It can't come in. You have to go find yourself a man. Go find yourself a good man with a good job and forget about me. There's no reason that you have to suffer through this with me. I have to do it. I have no choice. I don't have to do it to you. So I want you to go out there and I want you to live your life and forget all about me. And this is what I did. And I cut her completely loose. And kind of funny. This happened 35 years ago, and 2 years ago she found me on Facebook.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Let me ask you something, Ron, and then I'm going to come to Jeffrey on this, too. I want to ask both of y'all this question. Is it best to let somebody go when you're in prison, or if that person is trying to hold on and they're trying to care about you, you know, and we know how hard it is to get somebody to love you and care about you in prison, and just trying to make sure that your commissary is taken care of and your well-being is taken care of and your mental. Should a person let that person go? I want y'all to break it down to me in y'all different terms, but you first, Ron.
I've watched the one guy on the road used to write his mama and sit there and cry all over the letter on purpose. And I told him something. I told him, you know, you're lucky we're in separate cells, man. I'd grab you by the neck and just start bitch slapping the hell out of you. How can you do that to your mother? I mean, you got to go through this. Why pour this on her? Why cry on the letter and all this boo-hoo shit and everything like that? I said, be a man, you know. Everything's fine in here. Yeah, we're doing this and all that. And here's the thing. In order to cut somebody loose, you can't cut your mama loose. You can't cut tight family loose. If people are friends you've had for years, you just can't cut them loose. They just won't allow it. They'll work behind the scenes and do something about it. But a girlfriend, an acquaintance, certain people, work acquaintances, stuff like that, cut them loose. Now, it's all on the man, too. Do you want to keep this going and play him for a pack of cigarettes a week?
That's
you
right.
want to play him for a little bit of money? You want to keep running games on people to do all this stuff?
That's right.
You know, I chose not to do that. Everybody's got a little hustle in prison, and you do certain things for money. My thing was writing letters. I'd write love letters, and the guys would give me a pack of cigarettes and then send them out to their girlfriends. That guys either couldn't read or write or just didn't know how to express themselves.
Right.
So I made my cigarette money like that, and it didn't hurt nobody, and I was happy with it.
So you created some Romeos in jail, huh?
Oh, yeah. The problem is some of these guys got out and they couldn't talk that shit. Use language.
You know that's right.
What about all them beautiful things you said to me? Where's all that now? You know?
Yeah, puff of smoke, huh? That was a puff of smoke on that one. Hold on, but let me go to Jeffrey. Jeffrey, what you think about what we're talking about right now?
Yeah, I'm definitely against just running games on people or using people.
That's right.
Here's the way I would go about it, though. I have a different take on it than Ron. Here's what I think. I think that when you're incarcerated, particularly when you're incarcerated wrongfully, outside support is critical. just morale-wise to hear someone's voice that you could call to get that letter that he was talking about. Once in a while to get a visit. It's the prison wages are very, very minuscule. So to have somebody send you a couple of dollars every now and then, just the quality of life difference in that circumstance is huge. So what I would say is, in case of a girlfriend or maybe even a wife, I would encourage them to go on with their life to find another life partner, but to just retain me as a friend. Don't cut me off altogether. Let me call, let me write once in a while, pop up on a visit, and send me a couple of bucks if you can, while I'm there, because this is what my situation is here. I'm here wrongfully. You know how much time they've sentenced me to. Go about your life. So let me hold you, but remain my friend.
That's right. You know what? And I feel the same way you feel, Jeffrey. You definitely broke it down. And I see where Ron's coming from, too, because, I see where both of y'all coming from, and I'm going to break it down. Ron feels like if you keep that person holding on, you're leading them on, but your heart ain't in it because you can't have your heart in it. That's how you need to sleep at night to deal with your prison situation. Jeffrey's looking at it. Jeffrey's looking at it like, okay, I'm going to be straight up and I'm going to be upfront with you and let you know we ain't an item, but you still are a very special part of my life. You're a good friend. And, every little help that you can help me with, I do appreciate it. But you do know where we stand. Right, Jeffrey?
Absolutely right, Cogee.
Okay, right. And you know what? I really feel like both of y'all are right. I see both pieces of advice are right, but I'm the type of person, I guess I'm kind of like Ron on that, where my love and my heart is so strong for the person, I might need to just cut it loose and let it go, because I won't be comfortable in there if I'm always thinking about what if. You get what I'm saying?
That's a big part of it. You wonder, are they okay? Are they being taken care of? Are they eating? And what's going on? Are they with another man sleeping around on you? You don't need all that stress when you're in prison. But, it's different for each person, I guess. You just have to make your own choice of which way you want to go on that.
Right. And even sometimes
there's a difference, too, if you're on death row or if you're in there for 10, 20 years. On 10, 20 years, you might retain that friend or that woman that long and let do what she wants to do, and you guys can hook up when you get out. But when you're on death row and you're going to die or you're going to be there for many, many years, some guy's been there for 30 years,
Yeah, you're right about that.
I took the choice to cut her loose.
I hear you. Hold on. We'll come back to that. But what we're going to do, we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back. Hey, everybody, we got Mr. Ron Keine in with us right now, and we definitely, like I said, are hearing some great advice, and we're going to get into some more legal stuff when we come back in. I want to thank, like I said, Jeffrey again, and they both are bringing some real great advice that I want people to write down. I want you to live on this advice and know this can happen to anybody. Nobody's immune to being falsely accused. So much love to y'all out there. I hope y'all enjoying the show. This is Conversations with Cogee. We'll be right back. Somebody to lean on. Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. I've been falsely accused, part 8 is what we're listening to right now. We got Mr. Ron Keine in with us right now. And I want to thank him for being on the show again today. Ron, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Ron, I want to ask you a question. How do you, and I didn't ask Jeffrey this before too, but how do you deal with not being bitter and not letting this, just get to you every time you might think about, man, I could have did this with my life. By now I could have been retired. I could have, it's so much you could have done with that time is gone. How do you not think about that and move forward and let the past be the past?
Well, I'm a little different now. I was only in there for 2 years. I went and did all that when I got out.
Oh, okay.
It was really hard because I couldn't get work. Nobody would hire me or anything. They just won't. They just won't do it. Once you've been on death row or you come from a small town, you've been all over the papers and stuff. And they don't read the whole story sometimes. I wasn't Ron Keine, the guy who was innocently convicted of murder. I was Ron Keine, that guy that had something to do with that murder out west someplace.
Right.
So it was pretty hard to get work, but I got my stuff together and I did okay. But while you're in there, the bitterness, all right. This is kind of weird. You should mention that because I had a really particular experience with that. When I got out, I had such a hate in my heart for these people who did this to me. Not a lot on the road because I thought that they made a mistake. All right, I figured, okay, they made a mistake. They really think I did this. These people lied on me, and of course people should believe them. They were very convincing. It wasn't until I find out that they framed me, that they set me all up to protect a fellow police officer. That's, that I started to get such a hate in me is when I get out, I couldn't sleep at night. My stomach was churning. It was aching. I would turn over. I would stay up all night. What I'm going to do to these people? I got to do something to them. One guy, the main prosecutor, was one of these extreme racist, bigot jerks.
Right.
So I pictured in my mind that I'm going to win a lawsuit, get millions of dollars against these people, and I'm going to find out where he lives. On one side of his family, of his house, I'm going to buy a house and put black people in. I'm going to put Mexicans in another one. I'm going to put gays in another one. I'm going to put a hardcore acid rock band right across the street from him.
Right.
I figured that would be my way to get him back.
Right.
Non-violently and stuff. But I still carried this hate. I didn't know what to do with it. Till I was on a speaking tour one time in Ohio, and I met this Catholic nun. Sister Alice was her name.
Okay.
Years ago. And we started talking about the hate and the bitterness and all that stuff, and I told her I just can't let it go. I don't know how to do it. I've tried. I look at these people, and I don't see love for these people. I can't do it. And she taught me how to give it to God. She says you have to give it to, you give that hate, give all that to God. But in order to do that, you have to forgive.
Right.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to forgive these people who did this to me. They ruined my life.
No, that's right.
What they cost me, everything I own, what they did to me, the treatment I got, and what they did. And I learned slowly that, yeah, I could do it. So that's basically what I did. I forgave them. Not that they deserve it. You don't have to. Somebody doesn't have to deserve it to be forgiven.
That's right.
You can do it for yourself, not for them. They're going to be the same jerk they always are, but it lets you out of that. What I was doing is putting myself in prison again, my own prison, with this hate for these people.
That's right.
And once I learned how to do that, man, I'll tell you what, it was like the weight of the world was off my shoulders.
Right.
I didn't have that anymore. I didn't have that hate. I could go on with my life. I could do so much more without dwelling on this bitterness and this hate and this revenge that I was thinking of.
That's
but
right.
that's how I dealt with it.
I hear you. Let me go to Jeffrey real quick. Jeffrey, how did you deal with the bitterness and, not holding a grudge and, just like you was looking for a better way, but you was going to find your way to that better way?
Well, I realized within the first week, Cogee, that if I was going to remain angry and bitter, that number one, I was not hurting any of the people who had a hand in what happened to me. That I was only hurting myself. That I wanted to enjoy my life as much as I could. Whatever much I had left, and I couldn't do that if I was angry and bitter. And the way that I'm able to carry that out is I take the energy that I feel, and it fuels my advocacy work.
I hear you. And you definitely been doing that. And like I said, I do appreciate you again for that. But let me go back to Ron real quick. Ron, what have you done since you've been out, where you feel like, okay, well, I'm giving back, I'm out, I'm giving a second chance, but I'm going to help some people not even to have a first chance of going in. What's some of the great things you've been working on?
Well, for one thing, giving back ain't no part of it. I didn't get anything to give back. All right, I'm just giving it.
Well, your time.
I believe that people, if you got certain gifts, if you got certain gifts like you're smarter, you got a better character, you've got a better education, you got more money, you've got certain power and influence. That if you have that, comes with the obligation, the duty to help people who need it. There's a lot of people out there that need a lot of help and stuff, and I'm in the position to do it with my work and what I do now. We're getting ready to go on an exonerate tour. I just bought a van to do this with. We're going to take a tour of some of the southern states. We're going to go right into the belly of the beast there, and we're going to talk about death penalty, and we're going to talk about what happens to people when they're on death row, and about wrongful convictions.
Right.
And we got speeches now in Atlanta, Birmingham, Alabama, Houston, Texas, and 3 or 4 days of solid activities in Austin. So we're going to be leaving on that. I don't know if I can say this or not, so you can bleep me out if I can't, but we're on Kickstarter, and we need some help with financing for this. We've got 6 more days. If we don't make it on Kickstarter, our goal, we don't get anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I ain't going to bleep you for that. I mean, if you need it, I mean, that's something that's why we do this show. So you and Jeffrey can tell us what y'all need to move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, and all 6 of us, by the way, are doing this of our own volition. Nobody's going to make a dime out of this. We're doing this to help people out and to end this death penalty.
Wow, man, that's really a blessing, definitely. That's definitely a blessing. Okay, let me ask you this. Who are some of the people, Ron, that you want to thank that stuck by you? And then who are some of the people that really fought your case, to the max to make sure that you got it, that you want to thank right now?
Well, I'd like to thank our original trial attorney, Hank Farah. I think he thought we were guilty in the beginning. He was a young lawyer, hadn't ever had a capital case like this before. And there's no way that he could believe. I mean, a lot of these young attorneys, they come through the system with this pie-in-the-sky thing, and they believe all the stuff that they're talking is the way it happens on the street. They don't understand. On the streets, it's different. On the streets, it doesn't care. The prosecutors, I mentioned this before, 2/3 of all death penalty cases are returned by the higher courts, and the major reason for that is prosecutorial misconduct.
Wow.
The lawyers, they're lying, they're cheating, they're manufacturing and fabricating evidence, they're hiding evidence. The biggest violations we have is called Brady violations. It's a 66 case, Brady, I think, versus Maryland, which basically says if you are a prosecutor or a detective and you're investigating, you find out that this guy's innocent, I don't care if you're $200,000 into this investigation, you have to give it up. You have to tell somebody. You have to tell the prosecutor or the judge. You have to tell them.
Sure.
Well, they don't. They hide that, and that's why so many of these cases keep coming back all the time. What the problem we have is they have a complete veil of immunity. According to the Supreme Court, Scalia, Roberts, Alito, Kennedy, well, those it's usually a 5-4 decision. Almost anything comes from the Supreme Court when it comes to this type of stuff, where prosecutors have complete veil of immunity. You cannot touch them for what they do. So they can do whatever they want to people. They can lie, cheat, steal, all the things that I just mentioned. They can kill people knowing that they're innocent, and they do. And there isn't a damn thing we can do about it. Now, just recently, some things have been happening. Just a few, though. In all of these cases, by the way, I work with 100. There's 142 of us right now that have been exonerated from death row. Out of that, I know 6 cases where the prosecutor has apologized and admitted that he's wrong. All the other ones refuse to admit they were wrong. They make up all these excuses, and they just won't do it. They're afraid to open up the libel suits and stuff. But because of the Duke LaCrosse case that we had a few years ago, a prosecutor did get punished for his behavior. During the Mossad hearings and some of the terrorist trials.
Hello?
I'm still here.
Ron.
And he was prosecuted.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay. And just recently, this happened today, the Center for Wrongful Convictions, which is run out of Northwestern University, has just done a case today where they actually got a higher court to actually say, yes, we have pierced the veil of immunity, and they did wrong to this guy. They hid the evidence, and even after the guy got out, they kept saying he was guilty. After he was freed, they're suing him. I was jumping up and down today when I heard that. Other than that, these people do whatever they want, and there isn't a lot you can do about it. Hopefully the tide is changing.
Yeah, you're right about that. Jeffrey, what you think about what he said?
Yeah, I think that there are a few things to be hopeful. You mentioned this case from the Center Northwestern University. There's also, the prosecutor in the Michael Morton case, where the man spent 25 years in prison wrongfully in Texas. They brought criminal charges against the prosecutor for withholding evidence.
I love it.
Yeah. Listen, including suppressing testimony from the man's son, saying that there was a monster who killed his wife, that it was not his father, and that was withheld. And the end result of that was, Michael Morton served 25 years in prison wrongfully, but now he faces criminal charges for that, and he had to resign his judgeship, right? And also the district attorney who wrongfully prosecuted Mr. Morton, he got soundly beat in the Republican primary, largely on that issue.
All right.
Wow, that's a win-win, huh, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that wrongful convictions are starting to resonate with the public, and it's only through public awareness that that's happening, and that's why some of these we got these small little lights, these rays of hope that's just getting just a little bit bigger.
That's right, and that's why we.
I love that. That's great. That's great. People, they hit and they hit and they hit and they hit, and nothing we can do about it. We start hitting back. We're getting it allowed now. A little bit hitting back. They're going to start thinking twice about doing this to other people.
That's right. And see, that's why I said, I'm going to reformat this whole show, and we're going to do it different. And like I said, we won't be once a month. We're going to do it every other month to make sure that we get the momentum that we need to make sure that this show's a success, because I really do care about you guys. And like I said, the more people we have rallying for this, the bigger the movement. So, so we definitely going to do that. But we're going to take a break real quick, and we'll be right back. I want everybody to stay locked in. We got Mr. Ron Keine in with us, like I said, who's definitely bringing some great information. We got Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic, who's with us. Hey, I've Been Falsely Accused, Part 8 is what you're listening to right now. I'm your host, Cogee, and you're listening to Conversations with Cogee. I'm here. I'm in the studio. This ain't no rebroadcast. We doing it live. And like I said, I'm definitely, I definitely want to touch hearts and touch families with this show, because these guys done been through a lot, and they're trying to stop a lot of other people from feeling the pain of being falsely accused. So stay locked in, and we'll be right back, and we'll tell you how to dodge it, or we'll tell you how to deal with it. All right, but most likely you need this advice to move forward. All right, we'll be right back. Hey, we back, everybody. Welcome back to Conversations with Cogee. You're listening to I've Been Falsely Accused, Part 8. We got Mr. Ron Keine in, who's in with us today, and definitely bringing us some great information. But you know what? Let me do this. Before I come right back to you, Ron, I want to say this. I want to go to V real quick. V, quick as possible. What do you think about today's show, and what do you feel that, we put out there today, for our audience?
Well, I first of all, I want to say, my heart goes out to you guys. You guys are doing an amazing job, and I think awareness is absolutely the most important thing, and bringing awareness to these people who are not doing right by the communities and people that are in death row. I mean, and being treated fairly when you are on death row, or if you are on death row, you're still human. You still have rights, and I just, like I said, I think awareness is the most important thing. And I commend you guys for all that you're doing.
I hear you. Miss Peaches.
Yes, Cogee, I'm here with you.
What do you think about, today's show?
I think that, Ron really broke it down about what truly goes on in prison, and how, that's like hell on earth right there. And you guys are really drilling it into us that, if this situation hits your home, you got to have support. You got to do everything you can do to help yourself. And not just depend on a lawyer to always do the right thing. You got to kind of come back and backtrack. So I think you guys have done a really great job of bringing a lot of knowledge today.
Okay, there it is. Mr. Jeffrey Deskovic, yes. I want to say thank you for being on the show again today, and I want to ask you, what do you feel that we've put out there today?
I think we've given some concrete steps that people can do if you've already been wrongfully convicted. And we've also put information out there what to do if you've been falsely accused, and we've also outlined different ways that everyday, ordinary citizens can lend support to the movement.
Okay, there it is. You're definitely right on that. So, Ron, I'm going to come to you now, and I'm going to ask you, you've been on 2 or 3 different shows with me already. What do you feel that we put out there every time we have these shows?
Thurgood Marshall, former Supreme Court Justice, once said that the average person today does not have the information that is key, that is crucial to understanding the death penalty. And the same goes for wrongful convictions. And he went on to say, if they ever did get that information, they would find it shocking, unjust, and unacceptable. What we're doing here is we're planting seeds. We have to let people know that there's a problem. A lot of people, they don't know these things. I never knew this before I got caught up in it. People think, oh, the government's all okay and the politicians are honest. Well, I don't know. Many people think that, but the prosecutors, they think they're doing their job and stuff. They don't understand that these things are all happening right under their noses with their tax dollars. So what we're doing, we're planting seeds. Next time people hear about this, they're going to pay it a little more attention. And what Jeffrey and I do is we put a human face on this. They're not just reading it in a book anymore. It's not a figure in the back of a newspaper on page 10.
That's right.
You know, we are actually human beings that went through this, and we're out to help other human beings that have been through this and to stop the wrongful convictions and things that are going to happen to some of these other people. And I think it's a big success we're doing that. The more we get the word out, the more people are going to learn. And like I said earlier, we can't depend on our government to do this, but the American people have a history of making things happen. We have to get this movement going, and we have to stop these things from happening, and we can do it. I want to add also, this tour we're taking, if somebody wants to Google Kickstarter and then go to Exonerate Tour, they can read exactly what we're doing and where we're going to go with it.
Okay. Ron, how much more do y'all need to reach y'all's goal?
We're at about 2,500 more. The problem with Kickstarter is it's a fundraising program. If you don't get it, the whole 5,000 we're asking for, you don't get nothing.
Oh, okay. And
so we're about 2,500 away from it now. We're hoping, I mean, we really need it bad. Even those little donations, you know, they add more gas to the trip. You know, we can't do it without the cash.
And that's what I was going to ask you. What all do y'all need this money for, quick as possible?
Well, we're going to do these speaking engagements. We're speaking at all these churches in place. We don't charge for any of these speeches or anything, and we're picking up several of these other exonerees and taking them with us, and they're going to be speaking too. Some of them for the first time, and some of them just very little exposure at all. We're going to pick them up in the van. We're going to take them with us. We're going to get up on stage. We're going to show people, look, this is what happened to this guy, and he's going to get up and he's going to tell his story. Some of our brothers are having certain problems and stuff like that. There's just so many problems once you get off the road. There's certain things that follow you off the road that are terrible, they're horrendous. You don't even know you got them until later that something followed you off. But we're helping people with these things, too. We're helping our guys, and we're trying to end the death penalty.
That's right. I hear you. You know what? And I definitely, like I said, I definitely want to thank you for coming through the show today. You know, I mean, y'all exonerees, I mean, y'all definitely bring a real light to this show. And like I said, this ain't something that we just talking about. I got people on here, y'all really been through it. Y'all done been through the nightmare. And that's what it is. It's a nightmare when something just hits your life out of nowhere and shake your life up. And then, like I said, take so much time out of your life. And I just definitely want to thank you for being a trooper and for you keeping it all together, you know what I'm saying, and moving forward.
Well, I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity to do this. I mean, so many people sit on their hands nowadays. They don't do nothing about these wrongs and these evils, and they keep happening. And especially somebody, you know, I'm putting this on the airwaves. I've said stuff here against the government and stuff like that, which a lot of people would not allow us to say that, man. I can tell you what, my hat's off to you, man. Brother, you got guts.
You know what? But it's just, hey, I let the people speak. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. Letting the people speak, you know, and I just really feel strong about that. But you know what? Let me do this. Just hang on the phone for a minute, and I'm going to break out for a minute. Everybody, I want y'all to get set for the next hour coming back in. We got Nick Yarris coming in, and, hey, we're going to have a great show. When we come back in, we'll break you out. But everybody stay locked in and tuned in. We'll be right back.
Somebody to